In this video, I'm going to be comparing the Imolaza and the Rachio sprinkler controller systems. And I do want to mention that Imolaza did send me this to compare to my Rachio. I think Rachio actually sent me this a number of years ago. And I've been using the Rachio for about 2 years in two different locations with two different controllers. And so this one we're kind of putting up against the Rachio to see how it works. So let's start talking about them. So first off, I want to admit that I don't use either one of them nearly to the capabilities that they have. They both have the ability to say, I've got a lawn and I've got this type of soil type and I've got this type of slope, and have it calculate out exactly how much water you should be putting down. Like in terms of, I've got this type of irrigation sprinklers or drip emitters or whatnot. I've pretty much just got a simple system in both of the places where I use this. And so it's just kind of drip lines and drip emitters. So I do everything manually using kind of their fixed zone or their fixed system on both controllers. So if you're looking for a review that really goes in depth into those kind of more complex ways that this will compute out exactly how much water your lawn needs or your shrubs need or your flower beds or whatnot, I just don't have that going on in my yard. I really don't know what my soil type is. Some of the zones go across sloped areas and unsloped areas. So I'm not really sure how many people are able to use this to the full extent of what they can do. But there's still a lot of features that are built into each one of these that are helpful, even if you're just using it kind of as a more regular irrigation controller with a few less of the smart features. And one thing that this does have, the Imolaza has, is a new grass zone. That's something that I didn't find in the Rachio. And so if you are growing new grass, it is kind of a nice feature where it pulses the water. So it's like it's on for a minute or two and then it's off, and then it's on for a minute or two and then it's off. So it really allows you to keep your new grass more moist. So that's one type of zone that I didn't find in the Rachio that is in the Imolaza. The Imolaza also has the ability to keep a history of your quick run. So a quick run, what that is when you just want to run the water. Often I like to have my caretaker check all of the irrigation drip emitters to make sure they're not clogged or make sure there's not a leak or something. So I want him to go through the system one by one and run all the zones and then walk the zones and check them out. And so he's not going to wait around until 3 o'clock in the morning when one of the zones runs. He does a quick run, and you can do that from the app. Both of these are controlled by an app. Both of the apps are very good. But the difference is with this one, it doesn't keep a history of your quick runs. With the Rachio, it doesn't keep a history of the quick runs. So you just go in there and you say, okay, I want to run zone 1 for 5 minutes, and then I want to run zone 2 for 5 minutes or whatever. With this, it does keep a history, so you can say, oh, I want to rerun that quick run that I ran last time. So maybe saves you a few minutes when you're going through and testing the system. Or if you're like, oh, I just need to water that area a little bit more, you can do a quick run. Now, that's one thing that this does have. I noticed a new feature that I hadn't seen before. The Rachio has I think it's called like a heat wave boost or something like that. So it just bumps up the numbers. And so if you were watering for 10 minutes in a zone, you're now watering for 12 minutes or something like that. I haven't really played with it a lot, but it is a new feature that I noticed. And both of these, because they are electronic and they're connected to the internet, they can push out new features to them. I have read that the Imolaza gets new features more often than the Rachio, but I haven't had this one that long. I have had the Rachio for a long time and I haven't noticed all that many new features, so I could tend to believe what I'm reading on the internet. Another thing about the Imolaza is that it has a custom skip, so you could say skip for the next 3 days, 4 days, something like that, whereas it is not that specific on the Rachio, but you can say skip the next running, skip the next time the zone runs, and then start back up. Both of them you can, of course, put into standby mode. So that's what I do in the winters is I just turn them into standby so they're not doing anything when we're in a rainy time. The Imolaza also is a little bit less expensive than the Rachio, not significantly less expensive, but if you're looking to save a few dollars, this is something that cost-wise is better than the Rachio. And another thing that I like about the Imolaza is just how well the manual controls, how easy the manual controls are. So you could walk up to the controller wherever it is, if it's in your garage or if it's on a wall or something like that, and you can just push the play button and say, I want to run zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4. It's really easy here. It's very well labeled, easy to read. The buttons are easy to push. And you can see when they light up, it's like it's clear that zone 1 is lit up. Now on the Rachio, the difference is they haven't printed anything on here. You can see that there's a little bit of a relief here where the stop is, or the start, or the forward and back. And the zones are along here, and you can kind of see the numbers, but they're printed in white on gray. So it's really hard to tell what zone you're on when you're flipping through the zones. Whereas this, because the numbers are clearly printed, it's really easy to run a manual run. And then it will run until you push stop on both of these. So the manual runs are similar. It's just hard to do it on this one just because it's hard to see. Now, both of them do have an optional outdoor box that you can add. So if this is going to be exposed to the element, you can add an outdoor box, or of course you can build something yourself, or you can mount this somewhere like in your garage or something like that. They both do connect to Wi-Fi, and I found that they both connect to Wi-Fi rather well. I haven't had any problem with them being disconnected from Wi-Fi. Now, I do have mine mounted outside, but it's under an eave, so I don't have a box for either one of these, but I probably should get one just in case that rain really starts to come in sideways or something like that. And they both have weather kind of aware features where they're able to watch the weather and determine like, oh, if it rained yesterday and you have a run happening today, it's not going to it's going to skip the irrigation for today. And they'll both do that also for the future. So if rain is predicted, they will stop the run that's happening today if it's predicted to rain tomorrow. So it's a nice feature. I've noticed, though, when the weather forecast this weekend was way off, it said it was going to rain all weekend, and it hardly rained at all. Both of these devices, I had them both turned on. They both skipped the upcoming watering, or they skipped a watering because of the supposed upcoming rain. So it's not a perfect system, but both of them had the exact same problem with the weather forecast. Them can be connected to a rain sensor. So, of course, that will tell you if it has rained yesterday, it will stop the rain, stop the irrigation from running today. But, of course, a rain sensor that you have in your yard won't necessarily tell you what the forecast is going forward. And that's part of the beauty of this smart system. They also will adjust as the seasonality changes. So it's like, oh, it's getting into a more a hotter time period. They'll both adjust to say, okay, everything needs to go up and have a little bit more water. This one, the Rachio, will work with Alexa. I thought that was pretty cool when I first got it, that I could say like water, have Rachio water zone 1 or zone 2 or something like that. But I found that I never actually used it. Maybe that's important to you, but I found, like I said, it was cool, but I never actually used it. And I've been using this for at least 2 years now. The other thing about the Rachio is it's slightly easier to install the wires from the zones. They're just these kind of like spring-loaded clips here. And it's just easier than the Imolaza. It does have everything you need, comes with it, a tiny little screwdriver, but you've got to screw in the wires. You kind of loosen this and then put the wire in and tighten it back down. So it's just a little bit less convenient, but that's something that only happens once during the setup. So it's not overall super inconvenient. Lastly, I did want to point out that both of them come with these really large power adapters. I did try plugging in to see how much electricity the Rachio was drawing. It was drawing very little electricity, even though it has the really big cord. So the real problem with this is that it's going to take up 2 spaces for an adapter in an outlet, potentially, just depending on your situation. So I hope this helps you decide between these two. Both of them, I'm happy with both of them. They have slightly different feature sets, but if you go with either one of them, I don't think you could go wrong.